Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Timo Parker. I'm a vocal coach and I'm here to help you to improve your singing voice. In this video I want to talk about intonation and I want to give you some tips and tricks in order to make it easier to sing in tune, because there are a lot of components that come together when it comes to singing in tune. So let's dive into the video and let's take a look at some of these tips. So when we talk about intonation, two things are very important. It is the technique, so the way you sing, and also the way you hear. And these two things combined will reflect how well you sing in tune. So the first step in order to actually be able to sing a note is to hear it. And that's a big part of being a singer, is to have good ears, that you can project the note very well, and that you can also project the note against the chord, because most of the times we are accompanied by a pianist, guitarist, maybe even orchestra, and each note that we are singing fulfills a certain function in the harmony. So sometimes if the note is a more challenging note, for example, if you are singing a flat 9 against a major chord, that's gonna be tricky to hold this note. So first step is to make sure that you get some ear training in. I actually made a separate video on how you can get started. I will link it here. And once you've done that and you understand some basic things about intervals and all that stuff, you can jump into the following exercise that I want to give you. So what you can do is just to sing a random note without playing anything on the piano or on the guitar. And once you sing the note, you will start pressing a major or minor chord just randomly somewhere on the piano. Do. And naturally, as soon as you hear the chord, you want to go do. Or you maybe want to go do, but you don't want to stay do. So that's a good first exercise. Doesn't matter what note you hit, you just try to stay on the same note. Let's do it again. So a little eraser in between, so you hopefully forget the center of the tonality that we had before. And let's say something like do. That's actually a nice one. So here I was singing the fourth. Not so difficult to hold against the minor chord. Sounds actually pretty nice. And that's an exercise that you can do, and it's also a great way to get to know some different functions of notes against minor and major chords. You could potentially also do the same thing with diminished and augmented chords. For example, do. Here I actually hit a chord note, the third. But this is a way how you could practice it. And if you don't want to do it randomly, you can also say, I want to sing the flat 9 of a chord, for example, this note. Do. That's a good way to practice, a very unconventional way, but it's a lot of fun because you can explore a lot of different functions of different notes over certain chords, so that could be one idea. And another advantage of this exercise is that you start feeling, and that is very important, that you feel the function of the note in the chord. Because if you, for example, have a very rooted sensation, so let's go back to a major chord here. How does this note make you feel? It's a very rooting sensation here because we are singing the root, but that's something to be aware of. So for example, does this note feel the same as this one? Do, do. And just feel what the note does to you. That's an important thing. And that's more of a functional approach of understanding what function are you in the chord, in the harmony, and this can help you to improve your hearing and also the feeling of what you are singing. And then of course a classic is to take a note, and what you want to do is go a half step over the note and a half step below. So you're playing a bit around with the intonation until you got it straight in the middle. So for example, so what you're basically doing is like being a guitar string that's been tuned. So you just play around with the note that you're singing, you go a bit higher, a bit lower, and you will feel that there's a certain point where you just click in with the piano or with the guitar, for example. So let's talk about the second step, which is your technical ability, the physical sensation when you're singing. So for example, if you're tensing up a lot when you're singing, it is pretty likely that you will have trouble to reach the pitch and you're going to be most of the times flat. So that's something that you have to work on, that you start to relax and that you don't overstress as well. That's also a big mental game that singers sometimes have, is that they overstress about the intonation. Intonation is super important, but if you focus on that constantly and you stress yourself out, it can get very hard to actually sing in tune. So make sure that you're not stressing yourself out too much. And an important point, when you've been using a lot of air pressure, and you know I've talked about this on this channel a lot, air pressure is not great for us singers. We should not use air pressure to increase pitch. If you have missed the videos, make sure to head over here and check out the playlist where I talk about all the things that the channel is about. But basically what I want to say, if you were used to use a lot of air pressure when you are singing and you suddenly take this air pressure away, it's gonna be an adjustment period where you're gonna be most likely flat, because you all of a sudden take this crutch away that would normally help you to get the pitch by pushing more air, by increasing the air pressure in your system that makes your vocal cords vibrate faster. But we want to make the vocal cords vibrate faster by stretching them and not by increasing air pressure. So that's why there can be an adjustment period where you have to get used to using muscles and not air pressure anymore. So by training your head voice and making sure that you're stretching your vocal cords to the right degree, you will always be in pitch, or at least you will be able to sing in pitch if you want to. And I'm talking about the CT muscle and other things that you have to train. I'm going to link them below in the description box, and make sure to check them out. And one last thing that can make intonation a bit hard is when your volume is hanging. And I've made also a separate video about the volume. I'm going to link it here and also going to leave it in the description below. To summarize it very quickly, when your volume is hanging, it absorbs a lot of overtones, and then you have the impression that you are flat all the time, even though you're singing on the note. So that's a video that you should check out if you have trouble with intonation. So for the technical part of singing, make sure that you're training your head voice and your CT muscle. The CT muscle is responsible to reach these higher notes, and if this muscle is not trained, and for example the contraction of the vocal cords is very strong, you won't be able to stretch your vocal cords to the right note. I'm talking about it in a different video, I'm going to link it here, but this is basically what you have to focus on if you have trouble with intonation, especially on higher notes. Alright, I hope this video inspired you with some new exercises and approaches to improve your intonation. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and also subscribe to my channel, because I have more voice content planned on this channel. Also check out the link to my website where you can book individual classes with me, where we can work on personalized goals. So make sure to check this one out. I thank you so much for watching, and I see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.